Hi, Verna Fisher here, Integrative Wisdom, Elder Care Coaching and Consulting. That means it's a Thursday. Last week on Thursday, we had a conversation about the similarities potentially between what's been happening with the shelter in place, the coronavirus, closing businesses, individuals staying home, not being able to go to their place of work, not being able to go out and see friends, not being able to go shopping and do all of the things that kept them very busy, right? Compare that to being an elder, to being someone who was older, no, old, and who had already had their career stripped from them, their families taken, all of their friends gone. They might be the last one standing, you might say. And for those individuals who are not yet there, to take a moment to think about what that might be like. As they're experiencing it, they will have a better, they potentially will have a better understanding of what it's like to age and to begin to be stripped of all the externals in your life. And so today, what I thought we would talk a little bit about is the difference between the external and the internal. I know it may not be our favorite thing to do to get to know oneself a little bit more. A lot of times people are afraid, actually, of what they might find. It's kind of interesting that way. So we push it away. But maybe if we were to do the work at a younger age and continue to do it because things change over time, we might then reach elderhood and actually be an elder and not just be old. What do you think? So anyway, the inside job. And it doesn't mean to step away from the world. And I think sometimes that's what individuals have done. They want to meditate, they want to relax, they want to not be stressed out, and so they just unplug and turn off. And that's definitely not what I'm talking about here today. Um, I'm talking about stepping away, yes. I'm talking about stopping, yes. But then I'm talking about getting up and going back out. But more present as we do so, with less baggage. Yeah, talk about that, right? People talk about baggage. So if we get rid of the externals, what will we be left with, right? And so what if we were left with the externals of deep satisfaction, or the internals, not the externals, deep satisfaction, joy, um, contentment, recognizing our resiliency. Yeah, those kinds of things. How could we get to not being in a place of anger or frustration or disappointment or guilt, all of the negative emotions? Because as we've talked about before, our emotions really have a lot to do with our immune system staying healthy. And so if we can tap into the more positive states of emotion, our immune system will say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's try that, right? Let's try that. Let's see if we can create that sense of contentment within us now. And if we are an elder watching this video, have we done this work yet? Have we did that, that fearless examination of our life and been able to put it into a context and a way of meaning and fulfillment? And if not, are we able to go through that process of forgiveness? Both of those in our lives that we felt impacted us, thwarted us, but also ourselves, because we do a lot of that impacting and thwarting, don't we? Um, so, how might we be able to do that, to reflect in any way that we could um, hold on to and not lose it right after we get that insight? So a lot of times what we will do is we will write it down. We will take some time, and it's not like journaling, because this is a little bit more of a purpose of remembering. Some people will talk about writing their, what's my legacy? What was most important to me? What do I want um, the ones that come after me to know about the times that I lived in, about the struggles that I had, the things that I overcame and how I overcame them, advice that you might want to impart in a more permanent form rather than telling the story. You might want to write it down. Um, that's one way. And then, there is the act of forgiveness, and being able to go into that place of quiet, uh, check within and see if you're holding on to resentments. Um, and, science has borne out the idea that the anger that we hold on to is really doing its worst work within. And so to release and let go of that, you might find a deep, deep overall sense of wellness if you're able to do that. So, your legacy. What are you leaving behind? Forgiveness. Who do you need to forgive? Yourself. How will I do that? How will I do that? Also, celebrating aging. And not with what we're used to, like with the big party type stuff, more like a sacred ceremony that you create to acknowledge that you are aging and saging, that you are accepting this new role in your life. And so you guys have seen my space here at the center. It's a perfect place to do ceremony. But the the simple aspect of it all is that you you set aside time. You then use a space within your purview, whether that's inside or outside where you live, and you do spiff it up, because this is sacred time. So you do have to kind of get stuff off the floor and maybe dust, and what you can do within your limits, right? And then we call them sacramentals. It's the idea of whatever you're going to be using for a sacred ceremony then becomes sacred, because it is involved within that process. And so lighting a candle is a really good way. There's our candle today. It says joyful. Lighting a candle, having a cloth or a covering for the table that you're using, bringing in sound. And so, that's another way for you to think about, is there a song that has meant a lot to me throughout my life, or that has assisted and helped me on my journey? Let me bring that as part of this ceremony of aging. Let me think if there is a written work, a poem, or a quote, someone that has been a mentor for you in your life to bring them in as well by bringing in their words. Sometimes we'll do the ringing of a bell or the striking of a chime or a gong, and I have one right over here. Let's see if I can do it. You ready? You know, and you don't have to have one of these. You probably have something that will make a joyful noise. So what does that do? It calls us to awareness. It calls us to a greater awareness to the moment of what's happening. And that's a great way to start prayers, intentions. Words mean a lot in how they're said and what we're going to do in that space. And so to create that ceremony of aging is a really great way to formally acknowledge. We don't have a lot of formal ceremonies anymore. I mean, some religions will have them, but they're so ritualized that the individual doesn't really get to add anything to that. And so, and we don't even have anything for aging to honor that. So let's do it. Let's do a ceremony honoring aging, honoring becoming a sage, honoring what that life has meant. Why wait until we're, dead? And then people get to say what they want about us, but they don't really understand us. They don't really know what we've gone through. They don't really know how we've processed those things that have happened, or why we acted the way that we did, or that we really are sorry that we couldn't do better. Why don't we do that now? Why don't we tell people now? I really didn't mean that. This is what I really meant. This is what I hoped would happen. And if we're still trying to control others, still trying to control external situation, this might be a really good opportunity to learn how to release and let go, and how to be more centered in the now. There's a lot to learn to be an elder. Why don't we start? It's a good time. It's a good time. So if you have any questions, or you want to share, get a hold of me. I'm out there, Verna Fisher, Integrative Wisdom, Soul Catalyst. And here's to aging well, aging from an interior place, not trying to continue to be young. The young people need the elders. They do. They don't want us to be, the 40-year-old teenager. Sorry. They don't want us, at 65 years old to continue to strive to be the young, person driving, the fast car. There are great opportunities to be an elder. We just have to claim them. We just have to claim them back. And that first step is by getting to know who we are as an elder. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's time to say sayonara. Until next time. All right. Take good care.